Mm.
Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Janetta, and I am pleased to welcome all of you to the Unity of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube later or live and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube website, our YouTube channel. You are able to, if you are able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full Sunday morning experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in person gatherings each month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofda.org for all the details. Our message and meditation today comes from Roy Berkowitz. Roy has attended Unity since 1990 and has been speaking at his home church, Unity Center of DC, and Unity Centers throughout Virginia since 1996. Before he retired in 2017, Roy worked as a mental health counselor and a trainer of healthcare workers throughout Virginia. In retirement, Roy continues to consult and volunteer in the health field, working with safety net programs. Roy is a produced and published playwright, and in 2013, one of his one act plays was turned into an award winning short movie, which played the independent film circuit. His spiritual journey has informed his writing, his teaching, and all aspects of his career as he continues to have moments of touching his Buddha nature, his Christ light, his belief in the inherent worth and dignity of everyone. Of course, some days are better than others. And now, here is Roy Berkowitz.
Thank you, Janetta. Good morning, sweet spirits of Fredericksburg. A question. What if we gave eulogies to people while they were still alive? That's what's happening in South Korea. A company, a business, has started offering living funerals where a person can listen to eulogies delivered by invited family and guests. Invited family and friends. At some places, the person writes their own eulogy, dresses in garb, burial garb, stays in the coffin in a darkened room, 30 minutes. Someone told me 60 Minutes reported that in Texas, some people with a terminal illness are doing it while they are still alive. As one person said, if people are going to say nice things about me, I'd rather be there to hear it. What's the purpose of this? Well, to help people appreciate their lives, to self-reflect, reassess work-life priorities, think about purpose, about what matters, hoping to improve their lives by simulating their deaths. Now, I imagine you're thinking, what would they say about me? Or, what is he talking about? I bet most of us have an idea about what would be said about us. I know those who knew me well would not say that Roy saw the Christ, the divinity in everyone. Maybe more like what my third grade teacher wrote on my newly uncovered report card, Roy tries his very best. Or what my Hebrew school teacher wrote years ago, Roy is willing to learn. And so I am, and so here I am, 35 years later in Unity, still learning. In his workshop, Living Well to Die Well, Chris Palmer says, living our values means more of a chance of dying well. Meaning our values have guided us to live a life of meaning, of purpose, dying well with few regrets, having been true to oneself, knowing that what you've meant to others and the difference that you've made, among other things. Living our values means more of a chance of dying well. That makes so much sense to me. He even encouraged us to write a personal mission statement about the person we want to be, a work in progress throughout your life that can be changed or edited daily. And then to write goals, and finally, even actions that support the goals. Living your values. That's what I want to talk about today. And I got to thinking about our values, living, not living them, when Reverend Linda Martella-Witt said, and I know she's spoken to you, and I bet she's spoken to you about this particular thing. She spoke to us in June. Her daughter watched an episode of a TV show called What Would You Do? And there's a hidden camera. She watched where a group of guys beat up a guy and bystanders walked by. And they asked viewers, what would you do? Well, her daughter was so disturbed. She knew what she would want to do in a situation like that. She also knew she might not do it. Then, as things would happen, the very next morning at her bus stop, middle school boy started pummeling another boy, and she told her mom, I didn't stop to think about it. I went up and I said, stop it right now. She locked eyes with the main bully. He glared at her, then he backed away. Her bus came and she got on it quickly. So I ask you, what action or non-action will rise to the surface at a moment like this for any of us? Our values may be strong, yet our actions may be affected by our nervous systems, which predict safety or danger based on what has happened to us in the past, what we've observed, our responsibility to others. Do I prioritize my own safety? Or do I interfere with someone being hurt by another? And I ask you, let's take this away from judgment, from right or wrong, or good or bad. I'm not talking about it in terms of judgment. Still, the thought may cause us distress, reflection, perhaps regret, if we're put in such a moment and we do not live our values. What do I believe but live as if I do not believe? As someone said, I am not accountable for the silence of God, but I am accountable for my own silence. So if living our values mean more of a chance of dying well, perhaps living our values means more of a chance of getting through these challenging times. And on looking back at them, hopefully with self-compassion. Excuse me. Reverend Linda said, spiritual courage underlies our ability to act courageously. We want to stand up for our values. Definition of values, a person's principles, standards of behavior, which all give meaning to life. There are core values, things like love, respect, truth, integrity, compassion, which resonate for you. Our actions may reflect our values, but our thoughts and beliefs do give rise to our values, as they have to your church's mission, vision, and core values. Can we see the first slide, Jason? Unity of Fredericksburg, mission and vision. Vision, a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And mission, advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. And now, your core values that you've come up with as a church. Next slide. Spirit-led, generosity, transformation, diversity, integrity, unity. Is this who you are? Unity, beliefs, and principles, I know, help define our core values and your core values. Like Unity Principle 2, human beings have a spark of divinity within them. Your words are, all people are created with sacred worth. Eric Butterworth's primary teaching is that everyone is fully divine. Everyone. Do you say you believe that, but act as if you do not? As I said before, yes, at times I do act as if I do not. Unity Principle 5 is knowing and understanding this is not enough. A person must also live the truth that they know. How do we do that? Well, through our thoughts, our words, our actions. In your words, we act from a place of wholeness and are ethical in all our actions. We keep our word. We need to be more than positive onlookers if we're going to have core values, such as your core values of integrity, diversity, generosity, spirit-led, or your affirmation for 2025 about creating community with compassion and connection. That doesn't just take thought and words, it takes action. Well, it seems to me that if I believe and truly live Principle 2, that everyone has divinity, then my words, thoughts, and actions, Principle 5, should support that belief. Do they? Are you living in harmony with your values? What do you believe, but live as if you do not believe at times? As someone asked me recently, have you put anyone outside your heart today? Whoa, that stopped me for a moment. Does your behavior to your actions correspond with your church's core values? Well, mine occasionally don't with my church's core values. Occasionally they don't. But when they do, as Anne Lamott says, it seems I go from parched to overflow in the blink of an eye. Isn't that beautiful? From parched to overflow. I feel transported. That's when I feel my own divinity, not perfection, but connection to another and to something much greater than me, which is so crucial these days. Identifying our most deeply held values, those we're most devoted to, and then aligning our actions with those values, well, then our actions become empowered. A recent daily word. The more I love and the more I care, the more I grow into the full awareness and expression of my divinity. Perhaps that is what A Course in Miracles means when it talks about the holy instant, a moment of connection with God, with spirit, with others, being present, living our belief that we are one, that there's no separation. What moments do you feel the holy instant, the divinity within you? Or if you need, come up with a synonym if the word divinity is too much. I know a lot of our speakers talk about that. And I know some folks I go to church with, at certain days, that's hard for them to accept. So I think it's just important, if divinity is too much, how about your goodness? your kindness, your compassion as you work towards owning divinity. Father Gregory Boyle, some of you might have heard of him or read his books. He started Homeboy Industries in Los Angeles, the largest gang intervention and reentry program in the world. And in his books, Tattoos on the Heart, Barking to the Choir, most recently, The Whole Language, he addresses the goodness that I don't always see in others and a possible reason that it's hard for me. He says, it's not that they, the gang members, have forgotten their original goodness, but that they have never been properly introduced to it, that they are strangers to their own goodness. And he says that seeing is hard when you've been disconnected. There is a severed belonging. A severed belonging. Isn't that what happens when we see ourselves here in spirit? Here. Now, he is not excusing their behaviors, but reminding us there are so many reasons for a severed belonging, and the consequences of that makes me think about those people in whom I have trouble seeing the divinity. That the person might be a stranger to their goodness, might make it harder for me to see that goodness and to live that value. Harder for me to see another's heart until they can see their own. Well, certainly that might be a barrier for me. So let's blame them for my inability to see their divinity. Good idea. Not. Of course, the real barrier is within me, since it's not an embodied belief yet, as Reverend Sandra Butler would say. But as a 73-year-old man, I can observe my thoughts. I witness them. Thoughts are in the brain, but the awareness isn't. Truth gurus say we are not our thoughts. We are the one who is aware of them. Someone even suggested we observe our one who is aware of them, to observe us observing. Now, perhaps like some of you, I let my thoughts roll on like Amtrak Excella before doing something about them. Sometimes I can put in the brakes or slow it down. And I think, how can I love this person right now? And at times, if I'm really living my values, how can I love me right now? Well, we're always being asked to expand our perception. And then we can choose to see from that different place. You don't need to see the divinity within you for me to see it, folks. But really, friends, it would help me a lot in living my values, a lot, okay? So work on it, okay? Father Boyle quotes a homie, that is a member of one's gang, who said, I'm afraid of dying without becoming who I am. What does becoming who you are mean to you? How will living the 5 principles, the core values, help you become who you are, help you become a divine presence in these challenging times? Emily Cady said that the same Christ lives within us as it lived in Jesus. Sounds good. Do you believe that? Do your values and your corresponding actions and words show that you believe that? Imelda Octavia Shanklin wrote, spiritually, what are you? You are a soul that has forgotten its divine identity. Yeah, indeed, Amelia, at times. She then reminds us that being aware of your divine character means you are aware of your divine responsibility. Whew, our divine responsibility. What is that these days for you? That's a hard one for me recently. But when I live my values, I realize that's the person I thought I was. When I don't, well, not being perfect, mistakes aren't the measure of who I am, but it still may make me feel unhappy, disappointed in myself. Let me view this from a higher place, a distance, or as Eckhart Tolle says, from the balcony. Course in Miracles suggests we see it from above the battlefield. Native Americans talk about being like an eagle, perspective, to help us remember who we are, who we can be, to help us choose again, as the Course says. I see the choice I made, says Farini, and I see that it has made me unhappy. I do not want to be unhappy, so I will make a different choice. Choose again. Let's not forget that sometimes I may choose to keep it all at a distance, something I've been working on recently. I may choose to take a break. I think self-care is part of our divine responsibility. And that doesn't stay static, does it? It might change day to day. Still, during these times, the world needs us to do our best to live our values, our unity beliefs, principles. Eric Butterworth reminds us, when the world around you is in turmoil, you may be confused as to where you should stand. Where do you stand? Are you the way of God? Or are you in the way of God? Reverend Sandy Butler asked us that at a workshop. Are you the way of God, or are you in the way of God? She then said, can't see the good that's in the world? Then your job is to bring your good to it. We don't have to understand why there's so much turmoil, conflict, suffering, to know that there's still such an abundance of kindness in the world, and to believe that our values, our words, our actions are part of that abundance today. Suffering, yes, so much. Exclusion, othering, for sure. And still, love and kindness, deliberate attitudes of caring and acceptance and respect, lots of it. As Tara Brach says, this too. At a time, it might be so easy to fall into the quagmire, the quicksand of today's news. At a time, it's so easy to let our minds and hearts despair. I ask, what is the part of you that is unchanged? You see, no matter what is happening, you and I can be the reason people have faith in the goodness of others. The good deed continues to be good, says Howard Thurman. The kind word continues to be kind. The cup of water given to the thirsty continues to be refreshing and reassuring. Let us take refuge in the good that lasts. For even though living our values may or may not provide a way through to a solution to our predicament, it will provide a way forward in our predicament, one step into the unknown at a time. For as Brian McLaren reminds us, even if we lose hope for a good outcome, we need not lose hope of being good people, courageous, wise, kind, loving, in defiance of all that might be or seem to be around us. Not perfection, but living in harmony with our values. In the workshops and readings I've done about people who are dying, in working with them for decades in the HIV/AIDS world, what is often one of a person's main regrets is that I wasn't true to myself. I didn't live my values. I think they're saying I'm afraid of dying without becoming who I am, without becoming who I could have been. So it seems there are reasons to live our values other than to have a memorable eulogy. So, mighty companions, be swift to love, make haste to be kind, bring your good to this world and live who you are. Be the hero you've been looking for. Let me end with some Native American Cherokee wisdom. When you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Many blessings on your journey.
Thanks for watching the weekly broadcasts from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donations. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.
Let's do a meditation before we do that.
Oh, all right.
All right. Thank you, Janetta. All right. So let's spend a few minutes to go within, to silence, to rest gently. Give yourself to the seat or the floor that supports you. What else supports you? Trust it all. And breathe at your own pace. As thoughts come and go, as you let them come and go, that's what thoughts do. Nothing to fix or take care of right now. Nothing to work out or solve. Leave your human side for a moment. Visit the divine, your home. You are a divine presence. Sit quietly with that. You are a glorious presence. You make a difference. What's it like holding that thought? The more I love and the more I care, the more I grow into the full awareness and expression of my divinity. And now enter the silence, holding the thought that the more you love and the more you care, the more you grow into the full awareness and expression of your divinity. In the midst of all change, your true self is in spirit. Bring your true self back to your space. Let it welcome you. Notice how it welcomes you. And today, bring your good to this world. And so it is, and so we are, and so I am. Blessings. Back to you, Janetta.
All right. Thank you, Roy. And thanks for watching the weekly broadcast again from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, Unity, that's uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.